Getting right into today's video, we're going to be starting off by removing my top coat, and then we're going to gradually get started with removing any lifted areas that I may have. So for these steps, I am using my e-file at a speed of about 10,000 RPMs. You can go up higher, you can do it lower. Just know it's probably going to be easier the higher you go. I'm also using a 5-in-1 bit. This one is from Not Polished, but tons of brands have them available. So I'll leave a few different options linked down below in the description box, along with some discount codes to save you guys a little bit of money. So I'm just going to be focusing on gently removing that top coat. I am not debulking this nail at all whatsoever. I am simply removing my top coat, or if I had a design, I would be removing the design. And then we're going to be getting started on our acrylic fill. I'm going to go ahead and repeat that on the rest of the nails. I do want to apologize since I kind of move all over the screen because of me doing them on myself. So I hope it doesn't bother y'all. We're going to go ahead and finish this off, and then we're going to be prepping the natural nail. You might be wondering why I am starting the process all over again. So I was going in and removing the top coat. Now we are focusing on any lifted areas that I may have on the acrylic nail, specifically just the acrylic. I am not filing my natural nail at this point, and I'm trying to stay away from my natural nail as best as possible so that I don't over damage or cause any rings of fire. So I'm going to go ahead and carefully remove the lifted portion by filing on top of that white-ish area. That is typically how you can kind of determine what is lifted and what is not. It will have a brighter, lighter color hue to it. So do note that any portion of the nail that is discolored slightly is going to be a determining factor of what is lifted and what is not. Now, I did have minimal lifting on most of my nails, but there was a few that I had to just work a little bit more. I am pretty rough on my hands, especially just doing stuff around the house, cleaning and dealing with kids and stuff. So sometimes I do get a good amount of lifted areas. If you guys were on my live while I was doing this set, I ended up doing my right hand with my non-dominant hand, and that one had a great amount of lifting, specifically because it's really hard for me to prep my natural nails on my right hand with my dominant hand and also apply the acrylic using my non-dominant hand. So I typically get a little bit more lifting on my right hand, also because I use it a lot more often since it is my dominant hand. Lots of dominance in there. Hope that wasn't confusing, but typically I get more lifting on that hand. So I'm going to go ahead and focus and carefully remove it. I do thin out that acrylic as best as possible in order to remove that lifted portion, and then I just go ahead and work on the other ones. Here I'm just kind of showing you how I prop my hand on a jar or just something that's up higher so that I can stabilize it and it'll still be at my level where I can see it good. So that's kind of what I'm doing with this jar of acrylic. I use that as well when I'm applying my acrylic, just to, again, stabilize and make everything a little bit easier when I'm working on my own nails. Now, once I'm done with that, I'm going to push back my cuticles. I very rarely do this, but because I'm doing my own nails, it's hard for me to prep, specifically my right hand. So I'm just doing this as kind of like a preventative measure to try to get all that dead skin off. Fully using this method as well. So I'm pushing back that cuticle and also kind of scraping my natural nail. I'm only just doing this on myself. I typically don't do this on my clients, but do as you please. I just prefer to use my e-file when I'm prepping the natural nail on my clients. Now, using my extra long mandrel bit and sanding band, both from Profiles Backstage, I have now popped my e-file down to the speed of 4,000 RPMs. That is always a must for working on the natural nail. And at this point, I'm going to go around that cuticle area and all of the surface of my natural nail that is exposed to kind of buff off that shine, etch the surface nicely so that everything adheres properly. At this point, I am also going to be ensuring that I remove any dead skin from the surface of my nail that I may have missed with my cuticle pusher. I'm going to go around the entire cuticle area all the way down to that acrylic that is touching in the cuticle area to make sure that I fully remove any lifted acrylic that I may have missed previously with my 5-in-1 bit. So I'm going to go ahead and thoroughly do this very carefully and making sure that I am not causing any heat spikes. So I'm going to go over each tiny little area for a very minimal amount of time. Next, I'm going to be going in with my cuticle ball bit. A lot of people don't like these. I absolutely adore these. It takes the need of having to use a cuticle nipper away. And so I just really enjoy doing this. Buffing off that dead skin is so satisfying. I usually use another diamond bit as well to go in around that cuticle area before I go in on the skin. But I think I took it home and it stayed there. So we are working with what we have. My e-file is still at a speed of 4,000 RPMs. And again, just going around carefully. It does not damage your skin unless you hold it on there forever. So just be extra gentle with it. Have it at a low speed and you will be good to go. I'm going to be going in with a lint-free wipe and a little bit of Young Nail Swipe. We are going to be removing any excess oils from our nail bed, but also removing any dust that I may have left behind. So this kind of works as a dehydrator as well. But now I'm going to be going in with a dehydrator again and kind of just scrubbing it into the natural nail portion. You don't have to get this on the acrylic. Some might get on there, but it does not need to go on the acrylic as acrylic sticks to acrylic nicely. And this is specifically to remove and dehydrate that nail so that everything sticks to it so good. So once I'm done with my dehydrator, I'm going to go in with my primer. I have a few that I use and always mess around with which ones will work for you and your clients. This one is a triple X bond from Not Polished, but I also use a Young Nails one and I also use the Kiara Sky one. So really just depends on what I'm doing and what I'm feeling. I'm going to go in with a thin layer of that as well. I am focusing on this hand solely for this video. So note that I am only applying and doing all the prep on this hand first, and then off camera I ended up doing my other hand. Now for my acrylic application, I'm going to be sticking to like medium-sized beads. And I am using my Chaun Legend acrylic brush in a size 10. Absolutely love that brush. 10 out of 10 recommend it. I'm going to be placing the bead near the cuticle area. Always hold the finger down. That's going to be key. And I'm going to gently push it up while holding the finger downwards so that the product flows naturally downwards. And then I just quickly try to blend that out. At this point, because I have had these nails on for a little bit, I am also going to be rebalancing the shape of the nail and the structure of the nail. So as your nail grows out, obviously the apex ends up moving and all the structure that you have originally created with the beginning set does go down. So we are going to rebalance that slightly by adding the apex a little bit higher and then adding some thickness to the tip just to balance it all out and make everything nice and even. And that's pretty much it. If I have any little spillage around the cuticle area, very minimally touch that skin and carefully wipe it down the side of the nail. So again, we hold it near the cuticle area and then I gently start working it upwards, holding the finger down. And then we're going to make sure we get it into those sides and quickly blending it downwards. Now, if I miss any little areas while I'm doing this process, which does happen because I have to take my time with it, I will just simply leave it as it is and stop trying to work with it. But then I'll take a small bead and go in and infill whatever areas I need to infill. So very simple process. I think my prep takes longer than my acrylic application for fills. And it's just so satisfying bringing the set back to life. So definitely don't sleep on fills. Just focus on your prep so that you don't have to do an extensive amount of filing when you are prepping the nail. I'm going to go ahead and finish that off, and then we're going to get into filing. Who am I even kidding? I feel like there's always a moment when I'm doing nails where I forget to press record. So the filing part was actually the part that we missed in today's video. But if you guys want to see that process, feel free to check out my channel where I have tons of other videos showing that. I apologize for the missing content. We're going to jump right into our nail art portion. For my pinky nail, we are doing a Frenchie. I always just kind of hand draw the smile line as high as I want, as almond as I want, and then we're just going to infill the rest of the tip. I'm going to be doing a brown design as you guys saw from the thumbnail. And for my nail art portion, I am using the Veeda Bella long liner for pretty much the whole design. I absolutely love our brushes, so if you guys are in the market for good nail art brushes, give us a try. Check us out. Use my discount code VEE and I promise you, you will not be disappointed. They are double-sided, so it's like a 2-in-1 brush. And in my opinion, and in lots of y'all's opinions, they are really good brushes. So definitely check us out. Now for this ring finger, if you guys notice from the thumbnail, it is completely different. And that is because a lot of the time when I do my nails and I tell you guys that I never know what I'm doing until I'm doing it, sometimes in that process, I change my mind and I don't like it. I'm very specific with what I want on my nails. And if it just doesn't go right, we're going to take it off and we're going to start over. And this was one of the nails. So my ring finger originally was going to be all brown, and then I was going to layer on 3D gel over top of it. It was giving too much unicorn once I started finalizing the design, and I did not like it, so we removed and started over. I started off with a brown base just in case you guys actually like it and want to recreate it. I cured that in the light, and then we were moving on to my index finger, which is going to consist of a mustardy yellow color as my base, which I mixed, simply taking a yellow color and a little bit of brown. I am adding about 2 coats of that as my base and cured in between each layer. And then we're going to be doing an aura design with some brown line art. So this part is nice and simple, super cute. I feel like the color is perfect for the fall time. I'm just using my 3D brush to apply this. It makes it a little bit easier, especially if you don't want to dirty or contaminate any of your other brushes from your gel bottles. I always like to use my 3D brush. I feel like the bristles are super soft since it is Kolinsky, and it just makes the application so satisfying. For our thumb, we are doing like a blooming tortoise shell type of design. Not quite tortoise shell, but it's kind of giving that vibe. So I'm starting off with the tortoise color from Profiles Backstage. It is their jelly polish that is perfect for tortoise shell. So if you guys are in the market for that, definitely check it out. I'm going to be adding a thin layer of that, and we're going to be curing that in the light once we are done applying it. I will say this one is a little bit runny, so make sure that you cure it immediately after. As long as you wipe those sides, place it in the light, you will be good to go. But if you try to work with the product, it will continue to run until you cure it. So you want to make sure you're pretty quick with this. So I'm just wiping it as best as possible, cleaning those sides up, and into the light we go. Now the next step for our blooming gel design, we're going to be taking blooming gel, blossom gel, whichever one you have. This one is from Not Polish. I'm going to be adding a thin layer of that, and I'm going to be taking a darker jelly polish with a little bit of brown mixed into it, and I'm just going to splat it on different portions of the nail. We're going to let it blossom and bloom for a second, and then once you like the design, I'm going to go in and place it into the light to cure it fully. Now we're going to be going back into our index finger nail art portion. I'm taking this little tiny makeup sponge that is from Profiles Backstage. I am going to be taking a little bit of white gel paint from Veeda Bella. It is very pigmented and nice and thick, so it's the perfect consistency for this. I'm taking a little bit, placing it on my Artista palette and kind of diluting it. So I first press my makeup sponge into the paint and then I kind of pat it onto the Artista palette on a clean spot. And once it's nice and sheer on my makeup sponge, that's when I go ahead and just pat it into the center of my nail. You can do 2 or 3 coats until you get the look that you like. I think I just did 2, and then we popped that into the light and made sure we cured it in between each layer, of course. Once that was to our liking, I'm going to be going in with my line art. For this, I'm using a dark brown color from Chaun Legend and my long liner from Veeda. We're going to be doing, I'm sure everyone has seen this. It's kind of like negative space type of design. So I'm starting off with the bottom portion. I like to do the outline first and then we just infill to make it a little bit easier. So I'm starting off with my first negative space little area. And then I'm going to be going up the sides, up into the center of the nail. And we're just pretty much doing 3 curved lines that all connect to each other, and then we infill that center area. And then of course we're going to cure in the light whenever we feel it is necessary. Now back to my ring finger that I ended up taking off. I wanted to show you guys a glimpse of what it kind of looked like. So we started off with the 3D gel, and this is actually drop gel from Profiles Backstage. And then I did little ridges. It gave unicorn. So we started off with 1. I did 2, I believe, and then the 3rd one pissed me off. So if you were on my TikTok live, you saw the frustration just go all over my face. So I let it sit there for a minute, went back to my other nails, and then I came back to it, finished it off, and then we decided we were gonna scrap it. So that's pretty much how that happened. Here for these little lines, I do take my liner brush and then I try to use that to perfect it a little bit better, since it is a little bit more like on the runnier side for the consistency. You're able to kind of just move it around into the area that you want. And then we go ahead and cure it. Now this is kind of at the point where I gave up, so we moved on to the next nail. We're going to be doing like the little bangle type of design. I really just wanted to add some 3D kind of texture to it. So I'm going to be taking my carving gel or my molding gel in the color brown, and I'm just rolling it up in between my fingers, and then we're going to be placing that wherever we desire. For this design, we did do 2 type of little bangle nail art on 2 of the nails. So that's pretty much what I'm doing. This is going to be my base, and then we're going to be adding some chrome top coat and then adding a beautiful brown chrome over top. Now here I am taking my 3D brush with a little bit of Young Nail Swipe to kind of melt in the gel into the surface of my nail. Now once it's fully cured, I'm going in with Kiara Sky Rub-On Chrome Top Coat. I put it on a little bit on my liner brush, and then I'm just placing that over top of the brown little bangles that I did. Making sure that I'm fully covering it. We're going to flash cure that in the light for maybe 10 seconds. And then once that's out of the light, that is when I'm going to rub on my chrome. It's a beautiful brown chrome color. My coworker actually let me borrow it. So if I find it online, I will definitely link it. It is stunning, and it just flowed so beautifully with the design that I came up with. Now again, we go nail by nail, but I wanted to protect the nails that I already started and finished off. So I'm going in with matte top coat on my pinky nail, shiny top coat on my index finger, and then going around my little bangles on my middle finger with matte, and then shiny top coat over top of my bangles. So a whole concoction of things. And then we're going to finish off our design. At this point, I'm pretty sure I had like layered on a bunch of stuff on my ring finger to see if I liked it a little bit better. 10 out of 10, did not like it. Y'all tried to convince me, didn't work. So we went ahead and just protected these nails so that I can go in and file that one without messing anything up. We're now going to be going in with top coat and protecting our little bangles that I decided to add on my pinky nail, fully curing that in the light. And for the ring finger, we opted for a yellow ombre color with 2 layers of snakeskin. So that is what you will see me do here. I'm adding some of that burnt yellow color that we mixed, adding it to the tip. And then with my same little makeup sponge, we're just going to blot that on the top portion of that color and easily create this beautiful ombre. Now once I'm done with that, I am adding some blossom gel to the surface, and that is when we're going to be layering in our white first. Taking my liner brush, a little bit of white gel polish, I'm doing my snakeskin type of design. And then after that, we're going to layer on another coat of blossom gel off to the side, and I'm going to layer on brown snakeskin as well. We always wipe the sides before we go in and cure. Very important because it does run and kind of spread out. We're adding some top coat to the surface of that one to protect it, adding some cuticle oil, and that pretty much concludes today's video. Let me know what you guys think down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a ton, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Nunca solo está, no solo está.